In this video, we're exposing the 4 absolute worst motor graders that have left a legacy of frustration, crippling downtime, and financial ruin. This isn't just about minor quirks or a rough-running engine. We're talking about fundamental flaws in design, catastrophic mechanical failures, and machines that were simply not built to withstand the grueling, relentless demands of the job. And you'll definitely want to stick around for our number 1 pick. It was a machine sold with a promise so tempting that it lured in buyers across the country with the dream of affordable power, only to become one of the most infamous cautionary tales in heavy equipment history. A machine so bad, it's legendary. This isn't just a list, it's a guide to protect your investment and avoid the mechanical nightmares that have cost others dearly. Let's get started. Number 4, Case 885. Coming in at number 4 is the Case 885. On the surface, this grader seemed like a strong contender. Part of Case's ambitious push into the grader world, it boasted a powerful Cummins engine and what was considered excellent operator visibility. For many contractors and municipalities, it looked like a capable and cost-effective alternative to the industry leaders. On paper, it promised the power and features needed to be a productive workhorse. However, as many soon discovered, the impressive specs on the brochure didn't translate to effective performance. The 885 quickly developed a reputation for being a machine that constantly fought against its operator. The most glaring design flaw was its poor weight balance. Operators universally complained that the machine felt extremely light in the rear. This lack of weight over the tandem drive wheels resulted in a constant struggle for traction, especially in tougher ground conditions or when making heavy cuts. The blade would chatter, the wheels would spin, and productivity would grind to a halt. Compounding this was Case's decision to use front-wheel articulation instead of the more common rear-frame articulation found on Cat and John Deere models. Many operators found this setup clumsy and less intuitive, making it difficult to perform the precise maneuvers required for fine grading. But perhaps the most infuriating issue was its persistent tendency to overheat. The radiator and cooling package, tucked away and poorly designed, was a magnet for dust and debris. In anything but the cleanest conditions, the radiator would clog with astonishing speed, causing the engine temperature to spike. Owners reported having to stop work and blow out the radiator multiple times a day just to keep the machine from going into limp mode. The combination of these flaws created a machine that was a constant source of frustration and lost revenue. A grader that can't maintain traction can't hold a grade, and a grader that has to be stopped every few hours for cleaning is a black hole for productivity. The awkward articulation led to a steeper learning curve and operator fatigue, reducing overall efficiency. While not known for catastrophic drivetrain failure, the 885 was a classic example of death by 1,000 cuts. A machine whose design flaws made it a constant battle to get a day's work done, slowly but surely eating away at profits and patience. Number 3, Volvo G900 series. Volvo has built a powerful reputation for quality, safety, and operator comfort. When they introduced the G900 series of motor graders, the market expected nothing less. Marketed as technologically advanced, they featured a comfortable, ergonomic cab and smooth controls designed to be premium machines for serious large-scale grading operations. On paper, they were a perfect blend of European engineering and job site muscle. But as many municipalities and large contractors discovered, the advanced technology concealed a critical and incredibly expensive weakness. The Achilles heel of the Volvo G900 series was its transmission. While smooth when it worked, the system was notoriously fragile and prone to premature, catastrophic failure. Fleets that ran these machines hard, especially in demanding applications like snowplowing, reported an alarming rate of transmission breakdowns. These weren't minor issues, they were complete, internal meltdowns that required a full and astronomically expensive replacement. The problem became so well known that the G900s earned the reputation as hangar queens. One fleet manager for a county road commission famously noted they owned 2 Volvo graders and would usually switch off every while to which one is in the shop, because it was almost guaranteed that one would be down with a transmission issue at any given time. Beyond the transmission, These complex machines were also susceptible to a host of hydraulic and electrical gremlins that were difficult and costly to diagnose. For an operator, there's little worse than the dread of a flashing transmission warning light in the middle of a critical job. For an owner, the diagnosis of a failed G900 transmission was a financial gut punch. Because of their complexity and proprietary design, repairs required specialized Volvo technicians and parts with repair bills that could easily soar into the tens of thousands of dollars. The Volvo G900 series stands as a powerful lesson that even the most reputable brands can have a misstep, and that advanced features mean nothing if the core components can't be relied on. Number 2. Galion 503A. Now we're digging into the history books for a machine that many old-timers remember for all the wrong reasons. The Galion 503A represents a category of older, seemingly affordable graders that tempt buyers with an impossibly low price tag. For a small contractor or farmer, the idea of owning any grader at all can be a powerful lure. The Galion, along with other brands from its era like Allis-Chalmers, often appears on auction sites looking like a bargain. But this machine is a stark reminder of the old adage: a cheap grader is often the most expensive one you'll ever own. The fundamental problem is not just one single flaw, but a cascade of issues stemming from an outdated design and decades of hard use. Many of these smaller, older graders were equipped with what operators grimly refer to as Armstrong steering, fully manual steering that required immense physical effort. The circle turn mechanisms were often weak, the drivetrains were worn, and the frames themselves could be fatigued and prone to cracking. One prospective buyer, recounting his search for a used grader, described looking at a similar era machine where the differential made a loud, sickening clunk every few feet of movement, a clear sign of missing teeth on the internal gears and an impending catastrophic failure. This type of terminal wear is the hidden reality behind the cheap price. Furthermore, Galion has been out of business for decades, making the hunt for replacement parts not just difficult, but a near impossible quest that often ends in searching through scrapyards or paying for expensive custom fabrication. A machine like the Galion 503A is a hobby machine at best and a business killer at worst. What starts as a $5,000 bargain quickly turns into a money pit. When a critical component like a final drive or a transmission gear fails, the downtime isn't measured in days, but in weeks or months, while you desperately search for a part that may no longer exist. More often than not, these bargain graders end up being pushed to the back of the property, becoming permanent, rust-covered monuments to a bad investment. A daily reminder that in the world of heavy equipment, there is no substitute for reliability and parts support. Number 1. Champion D562. And here it is, the machine that tops our list, a grader so infamous for its self-destructive tendencies that it has earned a legendary status among mechanics and operators who were unlucky enough to work on one. The number 1 worst motor grader you could possibly buy is the Champion D562. Champion, later acquired by Volvo, produced a range of graders, but the D562 stands out as a true mechanical nightmare. On the surface, it looked like a tough, capable machine, built with heavy steel and a powerful engine. It promised to be a reliable workhorse for counties and contractors. However, that rugged exterior hid a core design so fundamentally flawed that it was almost guaranteed to fail. The catastrophic flaw of the Champion D562 was its circle drive system. The worm gear that turned the blade was notoriously weak and undersized for the forces it had to endure. Under any significant load, like cutting a ditch or grading hard-packed material, the teeth on the gear were prone to stripping, shearing off completely. The moment that happened, the blade would lose its ability to hold an angle, swinging freely and making the machine utterly useless for grading. This wasn't an occasional problem. It was a defining characteristic. Operators tell stories of stripping the circle drive gears multiple times in a single year. The constant repairs were not only expensive, but also incredibly time-consuming, leading to crippling downtime. Compounding the issue were unreliable hydraulics and a scarcity of parts, which turned every breakdown into a prolonged and costly scavenger hunt. The Champion D562 was a machine that couldn't perform its most basic function without destroying itself. It became a financial black hole for its owners, a machine where the cost of constantly rebuilding the circle drive could quickly exceed the value of the grader itself. It stands as the ultimate cautionary tale, a machine that promised power but delivered only a legacy of stripped gears and broken promises, cementing its place as one of the worst motor graders to ever hit the dirt. When it comes to heavy machinery, you absolutely get what you pay for. From modern machines with fatal design flaws to vintage lemons that were doomed from the start, these four graders represent some of the worst investments you can make. The common thread is that a cheap price up front or impressive specs on paper almost always hides a more expensive headache down the road. Before you invest your hard-earned money, do your research, talk to other owners, and prioritize reliability and parts support above all else. Remember, in the world of heavy equipment, downtime is the real enemy, and a reliable machine, even at a higher price, will always be the better investment.